Hi Stampers, this is Jennifer Timko with Stampin' on the Fly. I'm here today to show you how I created this lightning bug card, which is interactive, using the Be the Change stamp set from Essentials by Ellen Hutson. I created the background, colored my lightning bugs with Copic markers. The background and the crossing sentiment panel have all been inked using Distress Oxide inks and Distress inks using my life-changing blender brushes. Then I decided the positioning of my fireflies. You can see that I have circles marked where the lights need to go. And I am showing you a little bit about this Chibitronics book. I always practice with a little practice circuit when I haven't used them in a while to make sure I remember how to do it. I have a battery casing. You can see the plus sign there. And that is cut to 1 inch by 2¼ inches with the longer flap on top, and you'll see why later. And you can kind of see how I'm just making my layout first. It does take a little bit of thought before you do this to figure out your mechanics. I have the battery. They have batteries that come in the kit. Ellen Hutson sells these batteries as well. And that little panel I have glued down simply houses that so that I can make this turn on and off. I use the stickers that go around the little chibi lights as a guide to make sure I know how wide it needs to be with my copper tape. So you can see I'm now marking the plus and minus because we are going to be creating a circuit. And I know that can be overwhelming to you, but really it's not that hard when you think about it. It's just creating little circuit lines. The biggest thing with the copper tape is that you can't have it cross each other. So the plus line and the minus line have to stay separate. You can see here, I hadn't done this in a while. So when you're going to make turns, I tried to go the direction I wanted to turn, and that's actually not what you can do. You have to go the opposite direction there at a little 45, and then you come back over, and you can see I figured it out pretty fast. Now I'm speeding up my process of how I laid my copper tape just to save you a little bit of watching time. But you can see I'm just laying it down. I'm thinking about my pattern. It's really good. I think it's probably better than what I did is think about your pattern before you start laying down the tape. But all that just goes down all on the plus side there, attached to my plus side of my battery. And now I'm going to come through with a bone folder and make sure that I burnish down the tape. And this is one of the most important things I have learned with the Chibitronics to make sure that you have success, is making sure that this is really burnished and attached. Otherwise you don't get a good connection and you could have your light not work, and it's not that you did anything wrong other than the tape hasn't been firmly burnished down. So just go ahead and do that, and you can see that works pretty easily there. All right, once I have that side done, I'm going to come back now and do the minus lane, if you will, of my tape. So yet again, I'm going to speed up my process just for saving you a little bit of watching time. And I'm going to come down from the top here on the opposite side. And again, just remember that I need them to be close enough that when I get to my little light bulb stickers, that they're close enough that the little sticker can touch both of them. So you can see I'm just making my little copper tape line one more time. It's easy to get the first two over on the side, and then you have to kind of wiggle it around to get to the third one. And you can see that that's what I'm doing here, just finagling it there. And now I'm going to come back across my little battery casing all the way across the top here, and then down to the inside of my casing. And so now you can see that on the one side, the plus side of the battery is going to touch on that side, and then at the top of the casing, it's going to touch the minus side. I'm again going to come through with my bone folder and do the burnishing to make sure this side is attached as well. Again, this is pretty straightforward. It does take a little time, but this little chibi kit is so fun, and they actually have the instructions in the book of how to make more complicated circuits. I haven't found the need to make anything more complicated than this from anything I make for crafting. But I will say, if you have children and they like the idea of circuits, this little kit is super fun for them too. Ellen Hutson also does carry all of the replacement things, the copper tape, extra batteries, extra lights. So once you have your initial kit, you can replace your parts pretty simply. All right, so there's my circuit built, and now I'm coming in with my lights. Now, speaking of replacements, I realized that I only had 2 whites, so I did put 1 blue over here, but when you get underneath the colored item, it didn't make too much of a difference. You can see there, though, that my attachment points, I have the plus side, which is the big side of my triangle, and the minus side, which is the point. And I'm just attaching those where my little lights would be. You can see that I'm just finding where I had marked where I needed the lights to be for my little lightning bugs. And I'm just attaching these stickers. It's pretty simple. Now, as we go and get that done, you're going to see that I test this circuit pretty much obsessively through the rest of the video. I apologize for that, but at every stage I'm going to check it over and over, because the last thing you want to do is get your card built and realize your circuit didn't work, because then I promise you'll be unhappy, and I've done it. So I am pretty excited that that works, and so now I'm going to get to building the rest of the card. I had these inked panels split, and I have 2 little mini glue dots on the bottom of this battery. So first I'm going to attach the battery down to the casing, and just using those 2 little glue dots so I don't have it sliding around in there. And that doesn't seem to affect the connectability of the battery to the circuit. So I found that that works really well for me. Do help make sure that it doesn't touch the copper tape when you're attaching it, but other than that, you should be fine. And now I have just this 3M foam tape. These are the easy squares. So I have those in place here. And I'm going to go ahead and attach my bottom decorative panel to the bottom of the card and get that done. And then I'm going to just start building my card from here. One of the things that I find with the circuit housing, so that the light isn't always on, I do a triple build on my foam tape. So you'll see on everything to do with my sentiment panel, which of course conceals this, I do 3 layers of the foam tape. So here's the second layer, and here goes the 3rd layer here. And what I'm going to do is have that there. And this is why I made that little top one longer, because I'm going to fold it over with just a little flex to it, so the copper tape isn't always automatically touching my battery, because obviously the battery would wear out pretty fast. But you just want it to be able to go on and off when you press it, but not always stay on. So that's why I have it like that. And now that is secured, and that battery housing is all ready to go, so I can start concealing it. And then the last thing, I'm going to go ahead and attach this top panel. I used a little hole punch to punch out the places where I wanted the light to shine through better. So, and that's also how I marked underneath on my cardstock there. So those were punched. Now, again, I've just done normal foam tape. I have that all set up there, trying to save you some time of watching me lay down foam tape, because I'm pretty sure you guys know how to do that. Again, the only consideration here is don't put your tape over your copper tape. So anything that you're using as an adhesive, make sure that it's avoiding your copper tape circuit. So that's sort of how I have some of these crazy buildups back behind there, just trying to make sure that my panel is not wavy or unsupported, but also so that it doesn't cross over any of the copper tape. All right, and then I'm going to get this secured and check the circuit again. Make sure the lights are in the right place. Everything is good. Next up, the crossing panel. Now, again, 3 layers of foam tape here. You can see there's 3 layers kind of all the way across. I put it on the base of the card instead of on the sentiment panel, so that I could make sure it didn't cut into my copper tape. And then all I have to do is attach my sentiment panel. Now, this sentiment is also from the Be the Change stamp set, and I thought it was perfect to set it up so that if you touch the word light, that's what was going to make your card light up. And when I send this out to someone, I will make sure that I tell them, you know, push on the word light to see a fun surprise. And that way they can make sure, I make sure they know they actually see it light up, because that's the fun part. So here now we go back to attaching my little lightning bugs. So on the one that was closest to the sentiment panel, I did do a double layer of foam tape just to make sure it was up high enough based on all of the adhesive. And the other two just have normal, just one layer of foam tape. I did flip my overhead light down so that I could see how it was shining through. So I apologize in advance for the blinking out and the glare that comes from the light going on and off, but it made it easier for me to make sure that I was positioning my lightning bugs in the right place. So once I know that they're right, I'm just going to go ahead and attach those, making sure, and again, obsessively pushing on the little lights to make sure that they were showing through how I want them to, and to make sure you can really see the light, that the glue isn't covering them, or that isn't not in a dark spot where the inking or the black ink would make it not quite as visible. So this part is actually pretty fun, and you kind of get that wow, aha thing as you start to position your little bugs around. And this is what makes all the little circuit building exercise worth your trouble, because it is a bit of a wow when you have the light up card. So here comes my second bug. There he is. And then again, on that third bug, remember I had two white lights and a blue light, but when you start adding the ink effect over the light, I don't think you can really notice it too much. And if you do, that's just, you know, it's a variation in bugs. So I don't think it's something that draws your eye too much, but I promise I'll be ordering a few more of those white lights so I have them the next time I need to go pulling into my Chibi kit. I didn't realize I had used so many of them. And there's my last little bug. So on and off, and it's a fun little card to send to anybody, and hopefully it will brighten their day. So pardon the pun on that. I'm so glad you joined me for this fun card today. If you have any more questions, just send them on to me, and I hope you'll come over and visit my blog, Stampin' on the Fly. Thanks so much for stopping in today.